Hello Greenfield, Miss Baker here with the Enormous Crocodile part 3. So the Enormous Crocodile has left the jungle. He met the roly-poly bird, he met Mugglewump, he met Humpy Rumpy the hippopotamus, and they all said, "Come on now, Crocky, you can be a good boy." But I'm not convinced. Are you? Do you think he's really going to change his ways? Let's find out. At last, the Enormous Crocodile came out of the other side of the jungle, into the sunshine. He could see the town not far away. "Ho, ho," he said, talking aloud to himself. "Ha ha! That walk through the jungle has made me hungrier than ever. One child just isn't going to be enough for me today. I won't be full up until I've eaten at least 3 juicy little children." He started to creep forwards towards the town. The Enormous Crocodile crept over to a place where there are a lot of coconut trees. He knew that children from the town often came here looking for coconuts. The trees were too tall for them to climb, but there were always some coconuts on the ground that had fallen down. The Enormous Crocodile quickly collected all the coconuts that were lying on the ground. He also gathered up several fallen branches. "Now for clever trick number 1, he whispered to himself. "It won't be long before I'm eating the first part of my lunch." He took all the coconut branches and held them between his teeth. He grasped the coconuts in his front paws. Then he stood straight up in the air, balancing himself on his tail. He arranged the branches and the coconuts so cleverly that he now looked exactly like a small coconut tree standing among the big coconut trees. Soon 2 children came along. They were brother and sister. The boy was called Toto. His sister was called Mary. They walked along looking for fallen coconuts, but they couldn't find any because the Enormous Crocodile had gathered them all up. "Oh, look!" cried Toto. "That tree over there is much smaller than the others, and it's so full of coconuts. I think I could climb up that one quite easily if you help me up a bit first." Toto and Mary ran towards what they thought was a small coconut tree. The Enormous Crocodile peered through the branches, watching them as they came closer and closer. He licked his lips. He began to dribble with excitement. Suddenly there was a tremendous whooshing noise. It was Humpy Rumpy the hippopotamus. He came crashing and snorting out of the jungle. His head was down low and he was galloping at terrific speed. "Look out, Toto!" shouted Humpy Rumpy. "Look out, Mary! That's not a coconut tree. It's the Enormous Crocodile and he wants to eat you up." Humpy Rumpy charged straight at the Enormous Crocodile. He caught him with his giant head and sent him tumbling and skidding over the ground. "Ow!" cried the crocodile. "Help! Stop! Where am I?" Toto and Mary ran back to the town as fast as they could. But crocodiles are tough. It's difficult for even a hippopotamus to hurt them. The Enormous Crocodile picked himself up and crept towards the place where the children's playground was. "Now for clever trick number 2, he said to himself. "This one is certain to work." There were no children in the playground at that moment, but they were all in school. The Enormous Crocodile found a large piece of wood and placed it in the middle of the playground. Then he lay across the piece of wood and tucked in his feet so that he could almost resemble a seesaw. When school was over, the children all came rushing out to the playground. "Oh, look!" they cried. "We've got a new seesaw." They all crowded round, shouting with excitement. "Bags, I have first go." "I'll get on the other end." "But I want to go first." "So do I." "So do I." Then a girl who was older than the others said, It's rather a funny knobbly sort of seesaw, isn't it? Do you think it's safe to sit on? Of course it will, the others said. It looks strong as anything. The enormous crocodile opened one eye just a tiny bit and watched the children who were crowding round him. Soon, he thought, one of them is going to sit on my head. Then I will give a jerk and a snap, and after that it will be yum, yum, yum. At that moment there was a flash of brown, and something jumped into the playground and hopped on top of the swings. It was Mugglewump, the monkey. Run! Mugglewump shouted to the children. All of you, run, run, run. That's not a seesaw. It's the enormous crocodile, and he wants to eat you up. The children screamed and ran for their lives. Mugglewump disappeared back into the jungle, and the enormous crocodile was left all alone in the playground.